Resident Evil 6. That's what this reminds me of. Is this, wait, is this it? Yeah, this. Look at the arms. Look at the arms of the house. And look at this. And look at the face. Doesn't that kind of just remind you of like a little version of that? And look, that's her remake. Like that's her remake. So does this mean Capcom might actually end up remaking Outbreak? This is very interesting if that's the case. This is great news because this is kind of showcasing that there's gonna be zombies, right? This isn't Ethan. This is just a rando. Because I was gonna say Capcom wouldn't showcase the guy's face, and by the way, you guys can't see that right now, but Capcom wouldn't show Ethan's face after they just hid it for so many times. This is what's interesting, right? This is what I was saying at the beginning. It seems like Race is going to be going to Raccoon City with a group of people. That's why we heard several randos. So I don't think this game has the Leon. What's up, boys? So in today's video, I'm actually going to be dissecting all of the Resident Evil 9 trailer. This was honestly a crazy birthday present. Huge shout out to everybody that stopped by to kind of discuss and kind of theorize with me while we were watching the trailer live. So yeah, this is the fully edited version, and let's get started with the video, and I hope you guys enjoy. I know, right? That Resident Evil Requiem, I'm not sure about it. Honestly, wait, there's one voice where I think I heard Leon. I think, right? I want to see if that's Matthew Mercer. It also seems like she's the main character, right? Like that's what they're kind of insinuating here. They're kind of alluding to that this new character, Grace Ashcroft, is the new character. So I don't know. That leaker before, he was saying how it's going to be Leon is going to be the main protagonist and all that, and that doesn't seem like it's the case. Now, I do want to listen because there was one section here where I don't know if it's Matthew Mercer. I want to see. Ashford name. Well, Ashford. No. Ashford is different. Only comes up in RE. No, that Ashford is Resident Evil Code Veronica. Ashcroft is Outbreak. But yeah, Beth. She's kind of hot. Yeah, she's giving me Rose vibes, if I'm being honest. But I know this isn't Rose. Who knew they literally meant in the blink of it? Yo, they were literally edging us, bro. Looks like Raccoon City got nuked. Well, that's what happened, right? That's what happened after Resident Evil 3, right? Yeah, very rose code. Yeah, right? My bad, Ashcroft. No, you're good. You're good. At first, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, this is like, because who mentioned it? Was it Gary? I think it was Gary. Yeah, Gary was like, Ashcroft. I'm like, I haven't beaten Outbreak, so.
The Remwood Hotel.
As a kid, I had no idea.
The Remwood Hotel.
The Remwood Hotel?
I know.
Now, the reason I'm a bit concerned about this is because this is the Resident Evil 7 director. And he said in the Capcom Next event last year, I don't know if you guys remember, he did state that it was really hard for him to come up with something new, right? Resident Evil 7, like after Resident Evil 7 is what he said. And he's like, I think we found the right spot. Now, of course, we haven't seen gameplay, but what I'm a little bit concerned about is if we're going to go more into the supernatural world, right? Like this is what happened with Resident Evil Village with the Mega Mice seat, where it's kind of like a different, like upside down, if you will, kind of like a Stranger Things, or even like a spirit world of Resident Evil. And Resident Evil has always been very kind of not too much into that realm. It's always been very pseudoscience, right? But it's never been too much on the spiritual side, like for example, like Silent Hill. So there's something later on in the trailer that I definitely want to go over though. Okay, hold up. Let's go back. Let's slow this down. Actually, let's slow this down. Hold up. Where's my mouse? There we go. Let's do playback speed. Let's slow this down.
I know. That's where your mother was murdered.
So that's Alyssa. And Alyssa's like, it's kind of cool that they're bringing back Outbreak characters. Now, they've never been in an official capacity, except for, like, we got an Easter egg in Resident Evil 3 Remake. If you guys remember, like, there was that section when you drop next to Raccoon City Police. You can hear that they're calling Kevin, who was one of the characters in Outbreak, right? So it's it's cool that they're and look, that's her remake. Like that's her remake. So does this mean Capcom might actually end up remaking Outbreak? This is very interesting if that's the case, right? I mean, or it's just her showing, right, her mom. But yeah, I don't know what Requiem means. Yeah. Also, the other thing too is that I don't know if this is going to be a direct sequel from Resident Evil Village. You know, like we see FBI getting involved, but FBI has never really been a thing. That's why when I first saw her, I assumed it was going to be Parasite Eve, because I'm pretty sure what's her name, Maya, the chick in Parasite Eve 2 and 1. And 3 as well. It's been a while since I played Parasite Eve, but she works for as one of the sections in FBI. So that's why when I saw this short-haired chick, I'm like, is this Parasite Eve? It kind of looks like Square Enix, right? Like the graphics. I don't know. I just assumed. Okay, now we're seeing a guy with a hood, which is kind of similar. I've never played The Evil Within, but I saw my one of my friends, my YouTube friends, Virus the Virus was playing it, and that kind of reminds me of that. Requiem is a funeral mass in the Roman Catholic Church and other Christian traditions, typically used for commemoration of the dead. Interesting. Thank you for looking that up, Final Boss. There's Ethan's dead body in the investigation report at the beginning of the trailer.
This died 8 years ago.
Oh, so she died 8 years ago. Okay. So there's confirmation there. That answers my question. So this is not Raccoon City. So she didn't die in the Outbreak, because that's why I was like, are they changing and making a canon that some characters died in Outbreak? No, it seems like she actually went to this location and that's where she died, and that was 8 years ago. Now, judging that this is modern day, so this is like 2025, this is years after Resident Evil Village, right? Resident Evil Village was also in present day in 2021. This would be now. So 8 years, that would be in 2017. So this would actually be at the same time as Ethan, right? This is the same year, I'm assuming. Let's back that up. I actually want to see a little bit more of that. Yeah, so we see this guy who's very Evil Within-esque, which is funny because it was made by Shinji Mikami. Wait, there was something there. Wait, I want to go back just a little bit. Is she with someone? No, she's not with anybody, but this is going to be the new location.
Perhaps it's time for you to face the past.
Face the past. So, did Alyssa go to Raccoon City? Is that what's happening? She went back to Raccoon City. Is that what's happening?
Grace.
Someone's talking to her. I don't know who that is. The curtain obviously is definitely a callback. I'm getting Resident Evil 7 hallway. I'm also getting that hallway in Resident Evil 4 in the castle with the curtains kind of blowing. So they're obviously giving a callback to multiple games there. The hallway 2 is very close quarters, which is very, very similar to Resident Evil 7. Okay, so here we go. We have missing. So there's a bunch of people missing. So this is not Raccoon City. I don't think so. I mean, it very well could be, but maybe it'll have multiple locations is what I'm kind of alluding to, because at the end we kind of see that everything is exploded, and obviously Raccoon City got nuked, so this doesn't look like it got nuked, right? All of this would just be burned, I'm assuming. Yeah, like this city, this seems like a new city. What is this?
I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for.
That's the guy in the hood, for sure.
I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for. The special one. The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft.
What accent does this guy have? I'm kind of getting maybe like Scandinavian. Scandinavian. I don't know. Like it's very maybe Dane. I don't know.
Chosen one. Miss Ashcroft.
Miss Ashcroft. I don't know. Yeah. So this is Raccoon City. This is the remnants of Raccoon City. But interesting. It seemed the nuke didn't hit all of the buildings. That's also very interesting. So so maybe this is all set in Raccoon City, but no, we saw like another city with people walking. But my guess here is that maybe since some of the buildings were kind of left open, like we didn't know this because when at the end of Resident Evil 3, we kind of saw the whole city kind of get blown over, right? We don't know the extent of the explosion. They've never kind of showcased it. But going back to the scene that we were just at where it showed the missing the missing things, that almost seems, now that I'm thinking about it, it seems like it's the same city as this. It's the same lighting. It's the same lighting as this. So you know what? I was going to say perhaps some of the buildings had missing kind of stuff on there, and maybe Alyssa Ashcroft died in investigating Raccoon City again after the explosion many years later. But I don't know anymore because this area, obviously there's multiple people. It just looks like trash on the ground. So is that just more of a cutscene maybe at the start of the game, or is the game going to be in different locations? Is it going to be at the start also, like starting out in one city and then you have Grace going to Raccoon City where everything's kind of exploded?
That I've been searching for.
I know I'm probably in the minority here, but I don't like this for a few reasons. This is about Winter's family, probably. Good if it's not. This will probably be a first-person camera, and there won't be any favorite character to play as. Just my opinion. Yeah, we're going to see close right now. That's a very good point, Shadow Dancer. That's kind of my concern. It seems like, and there's also sections, like I said, we're going to go over that, but there are sections later on where it almost seems like it's trying to be more paranormal, kind of like what happened with Resident Evil 7. And that we do know for a fact that this new Resident Evil game, Resident Evil 9, I guess, Requiem, is being directed by the same guy that made Resident Evil 7 and also Revelations. So the reason I bring that up is because Resident Evil 7, they did kind of hinted at a paranormal kind of side, with the phone kind of ringing. They obviously were very inspired by Silent Hill. And that's what I mean with that paranormalness, like where Jack Baker would just show up out of the blue. That's something that I didn't like about Resident Evil 7, mostly because, or even Resident Evil 8, as mentioned before with the Mega Mycete, very supernatural kind of stuff that's happening, right? Even though it's explained through science, that kind of feeling of it being supernatural is something that I think it's getting too much on that side, right? And that's my only cause for concern about this.
Special one, the chosen one, Miss Ashcroft.
Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
We need to keep our voices down.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
Okay, right there. I thought maybe that was Matthew Mercer because obviously with the leaker that said that this was actually going to be years after Resident Evil 8, and it does seem like it is. This seems like it's probably modern day. Obviously, we don't know. The likelihood, though, would be that it would make more sense if Resident Evil 8 and Resident Evil 9 happened right away. But since we're not playing as Chris Redfield, which is very interesting, right? I mean, at the end of Resident Evil 8, we knew that Chris was headed to BSAA Europe to basically find out why they were using BOWs for the BSAA soldiers. It seems like this game is just kind of just going over that. Like, we're not really going to talk about that at all. This might be in present day 2025, and that's why I came up with the number, right? Like, it's going to be 2017 where Alyssa apparently died, most likely investigating Raccoon City, in 2017. But yeah, very strange. I want to hear that again. That doesn't seem like it's Matthew Mercer. And the reason I'm mentioning Matthew Mercer is because he has played older Leon in Resident Evil, in Resident Evil Death Island and Resident Evil 6, Resident Evil Vendetta, those, the two CGI movies. The Infinite Darkness was voiced by Nick Apostolides, but I don't hear any of those actors.
Getting all these strange deaths, huh?
We need to keep our voices down.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
No. Have you seen the same, like that? That's not Matthew Mercer at all. It's not Nick Apostolides at all. That seems like it's just a rando, honestly, like a rando, like guy that maybe Grace goes into Raccoon City with, and he's like, "Have you seen the shit that we've seen?"
These strange deaths, huh?
We need.
Also Damnation. No, yes, Damnation, yes, as well. Thank you, lady. Yeah. Degeneration was voiced by Paul Mercier, right? As well,
Strange
baby.
deaths, huh?
We need to keep our voices down.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
No.
Please know that you are my hope.
That sounds like, I'm assuming, is Alyssa. You seem, maybe she's going to be leaving, because again, this is going to be very similar to Resident Evil 7, it seems, which is my concern here. I think she's probably going to leave like video recordings for her. Grace is her daughter, correct? We're going to have to go back. Grace is her daughter. Obviously, we're seeing R.P.D. here.
Everyone's gone.
Destroyed. We're hearing a little girl. Oh, you know what? Maybe this is her. Maybe this is a flashback scene. So kind of Alyssa speaking with her daughter, right? Is that her daughter, guys? What's up, Edgewix? How's it going, man? One thing is for sure, events here are happening after RE3. Yeah, for sure. Who's the guy saying something about the strange death? That seems like it's a rando. That doesn't sound like Leon at all. It doesn't sound like a main character. It doesn't sound like Chris from Resident Evil 8. This seems like it's just maybe it seems to me like Grace, the FBI agent at the start, is going to go to Raccoon City to investigate this new kind of disease that's kind of appearing, and she's going to go with her own team. That's what it seems like to me. Yes, Grace is her daughter. Thank you, Gary. Okay, yeah, just to confirm, right? Because this is all new information. It's telling us we are in Raccoon City. Yes, it seems like this game is going to be taking place majority in Raccoon City, because as we saw just a couple of images before, we saw that the not all of Raccoon City was exploded. Like, there's still buildings there. You know what I mean? Even though the nuke happened, it seemed like it happened on one side of the city and it affected everywhere else. You know what I mean? But that's interesting. Yeah, that's just R.P.D. That's just R.P.D. completely exploded. Okay, so this is the new virus. This right here, this is what I was concerned about. It seems like they're very, like they're trying, like, I don't know. We'll see. This is kind of giving me Liquor vibes right now with the fact that this thing is crawling up the wall. Like, that kind of gives me Liquor vibes, how it's doing that. So it seems like there is going to be randos in the location, right? So again, this implies, you know, those two voices that we heard before where they're like, what the hell is this or going on here? It seems like this might be the team that Grace goes in to Raccoon City with. It seems like these are the guys that are going to be there, right? And then you have the guy with the hood who obviously is the villain. And I kind of want to have a look at him a little bit more. Interesting. We see a cop here that looks infected, but it doesn't seem like this is this seems like it's a new infection. So I wonder if this is going to be similar to Resident Evil 4. And this is also really good news, by the way. This is great news because this is kind of showcasing that there's going to be zombies, right? But there's also going to be different BOWs. Wait, let's go back. That looks like a zombie. Yeah, so you have the new thing, the creature. This is giving me this right here. I've never played PT. Let me know in the chat, guys, or in the comments if you guys are watching this in the video. Let me know. Is this hallway similar to PT? Like what I've seen, I've never played it, but it's kind of giving me that vibe. And down there, that looks like a weird creature here. It almost looks like someone. It almost looks like someone's wearing a suit or something, right? Let's go back. It's giving the baby. Thank you. Yes, it is. The arms look exactly like the baby. It's a very good catch. I was going to say that before too, but thank you, Dev. I almost forgot to mention that. But yes, no, that does. The arm looks exactly like the baby that chases Ethan, but it doesn't look like this is the mold virus, which is interesting. Oh, so it's only a second there. Wait, it's only, let me slow that down. It seems like it's only a second. So we're going to bring that down. We're going to see. I don't think we're going to have to look. Yeah. It seems like a guy that's wearing like a suit or something. It seems like a BOW that looks like he's wearing like a pizza slice. Is it just me? I don't know. It looks weird, right? That's really strange. And then the arms look exactly like the baby. And this, you know what this reminds me of? The face of it kind of looks like you can see the skull. That reminds me of Resident Evil 6, the final boss with Chris and Piers. That's what that actually that reminds me. What's that creature called? It's like a skeleton creature. Resident Evil 6, Chris and Pier's final boss. Oh, I wrote that wrong, but you know what I mean. What is the name of this? The house. Wait, house Resident Evil 6. That's what this reminds me of. Is this wait, is this it? Yeah, this. Look at the arms. Look at the arms of the house. And look at this. And look at the face. Doesn't that kind of just remind you of like a little version of that? As well as how Dev also mentioned, it looks like whatchamacallit, it looks like the baby as well, right? Like let's look at the baby's hands from House Beneviento baby. Let's see the creature. Here we go. Yeah, it also has the same kind of look of the hands, correct? So here's a better picture, I guess. That seems like it has the same kind of hands as well. See, like it's the same thing. So it almost seems like this is the house BOW. And sorry, let me put there we go. House BOW. And also the baby kind of mixed together, almost like as a little version. That's very interesting. So is this going to be a combination of maybe the C virus? That's I mean, I don't know, right? I mean, obviously this is not the mold virus just like alone. It seems like this is a new virus because that's what the guy, the FBI director states at the beginning. He says that there's a new thing. Let's actually go back. What number is this? We're just going to go back. I want to see what that guy says at the beginning. This is crazy. I just watched. The girl sounded like Rose's voice actress. I don't think so. I don't think it sounded. I know how she sounds. That's Jenny. What's her name? Jenny, I'm forgetting her name. Is it Jenny Ortega? No. That's a different actress. Rose Winter's voice actor. Jeannie Tirado. That's what it is. Sorry, I forgot. Jeannie Tirado has also been in several video games. She's also been in whatchamacallit in Texas Chainsaw. She was in Silent Hill. That's not her voice. For sure, that's not her voice. I can tell 100% that is not her voice. But it looks like Rose, right? It looks like Rose. But you have to remember that Rose isn't going to be making an appearance here, maybe a mention. But is she going to actually appear? I highly doubt it because she's basically a baby in present time. You have to remember that, right? That Shadow of Rose was way off into the future, 16 years. So this is not her. By the way, if you guys enjoy these types of videos, since it's been a while since I've done a dissection video, not since RE4 Remake, then make sure to leave a like as it helps me out a ton. Not to mention, it's also my birthday. So if you guys enjoy what I do and want to keep up to date with the latest Resident Evil 9 theories, then make sure to subscribe. Anyways, let's get back to the video. Yeah, Rose should be like 6 or 7. Yes, if this is, I think she'd be 5. If this is present day. Oh, wait, this is still slow motion. Hold up. Let's go back a second, actually. What is that? That looks like an infectee. I'd like to zoom in on all of this, but it's kind of hard to tell. What does that say? Wanted by the FBI. They might just be FBI guys. Just randos. Incident 4th victim unidentified disease. Could this be Ethan or is this not Ethan? This could just be not Ethan. You know what I mean? A deceased individual was discovered at an abandoned government office. No, guys, this is not Ethan. This isn't Ethan. This is just a rando. Because I was going to say, Capcom wouldn't showcase the guy's face. And by the way, you guys can't see that right now. But Capcom wouldn't show Ethan's face after they just hid it for so many times. This is not Ethan. This is not Ethan. This is the different guy. Because as she says, a deceased individual was discovered at an abandoned government office. Preliminary analysis suggests the deceased may be linked to a series. Ooh, what does she say? A series of new infection, I think is probably what she was going to write. Maybe we'll catch it here. I can't read what she's saying there. Oh, she wrote a lot, actually. Huh.
Grace. Grace. Grace Ashcroft.
Yes?
My office.
Oh, coming.
That's not his face. Yeah, no, that's not Ethan. Also, we know that Ethan actually looks like he's not that. We only know because of the mods, right? To actually clip through the camera to see him. But that's not Ethan because he didn't die in a government office.
You asked for
He died in Romania.
It'll be ready in 3. No, 2 days tops.
Put a hold on that for now.
Yeah, that's not Rose at all. And we also know that it's Grace. It's not the same voice actor.
The same pathology as the others.
Let's go back.
We found another body. One that exhibits the same pathology as the others we've been investigating. Now I need a good technical analyst on this.
Okay.
Technical analyst in the FBI. What is that? Isn't that just somebody that... Wait, let's see. Technical analyst, FBI, job, description. Using expertise in computer science, cybersecurity, or related fields to support investigations, protect the FBI systems, and analyze technology for intelligence purposes. They might work on cybersecurity, forensic analysis. That's probably what she does. She's definitely more forensic, intelligence gathering, related technology, after collaborating with that. Yeah, I'm assuming it's more forensics. That's what she's actually doing, protecting FBI systems. Technical analysts are crucial. Yeah, but since this world of Resident Evil does have BOWs, I'm sure the FBI would kind of have a different, like the same, they probably have just a different job title in the technical analysis, right? The technical analyst jobs. So intelligence, some technical focus on analyzing technology trends. It seems like it's more technology. They may be involved in investigating cybercrimes, recovering digital evidence, and analyzing data to solve cases. They often work in teams with other FBI professionals, including special agents, intelligence analysts, forensic examiners. So this is what's interesting, right? This is what I was saying at the beginning. It seems like Grace is going to be going to Raccoon City with a group of people. That's why we heard several randos. So I don't think this game has Leon. You remember that leaker, Dusk Golem, Aesthetic Gamer? He was saying that Leon was going to be the main protagonist. I don't think so. I don't think so. Because it seems like all the stuff we've seen, obviously this is just a one initial trailer. We might see maybe, to give the benefit of the doubt, we might see a glimpse, but it seems like she is the main character, the new main character. That doesn't mean that we won't be able to see maybe the BSAA later on, or, the Hound Wolves, or Chris Redfield or other guys. But I find it very suspicious. This seems more in line with what she's doing. She's going with other FBI guys, right? We saw like the old man who's like, get away from me. We saw the guy that got bagged by the guy with the hoodie, right, with the cloak. And we also saw, she's with the, and forensic examiners. She's going to Raccoon City for sure. I heard the voice of the guy that was talking to Grace. He has the voice of Carlos from RE3 Remake. Really?
Now I need a good technical analyst on this.
What? No, that is not Carlos from What? No, that's not him, bro. No. Crystal, I don't know what you're talking about, bro. That is not Carlos or Chris, because he also played Chris, by the way. Yeah, also, am I crazy, or was Jack Baker in the missing poster? Oh, it could be. It could very well be, Ark. Yeah, you're suggesting that he was like in the corner with like the brain or whatever. That very well could be. We could go back. Yeah, because I couldn't really zoom in. But let's try to zoom in. I'm going to take a picture and we'll see. Also, where is this located? I think it just says Federal Bureau of Investigations. We'll take a picture. I don't think that's him. You guys were suggesting that maybe that was Jack Baker. I don't think that's him. I'm going to bring up the screenshot. We're going to see. To be honest, I hope we never see Rose again in the Winters in general. 100% agree, lady. 100% agree. I don't want to hear Winters family. And you know what? We do have to remember that Capcom did specifically state that the Winters family saga is over. They're not going to talk about it. And also, since it's so much in the future where we see Rose, it seems like that could be a possibility for Capcom to investigate later on in the future. But as of now, we're not going to get that. We're not. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people were kind of assuming that Resident Evil 9 was going to be with Rose, but a lot of people forget that it's 16 years in the future where Rose is there. You know what I mean? We could get a mention, but I would not count on it being anything
Grace.
like actually seeing with the Winters or like Mia or whatever.
Grace.
That Rose using a fake name? No, definitely not. Definitely not, because this it's not the same voice actor.
Alyssa died
Doesn't look like her.
years ago.
This looks like it's present day.
Perhaps it's time for you to face the past.
Let's see these images again. I know I watched them before, but let's see. I want to see them again now that we know a little bit more information just from dissecting. So this is a hotel. Yeah, very Silent Hill inspired, which is really funny. The other thing I have to mention is that, I don't know if you guys remember, but the actress that played Lady D, when she came out and kind of said the 30th anniversary and was kind of edging everybody by saying like, oh, that's it, you know, and then they showcased Resident Evil later and they're like, oh, we're close to showing it. And, you know, they were kind of just messing with everyone. It seems like she kind of wore an outfit that was very similar to Alex Wesker. I'm curious, is this game going to go that route where it's actually going to be like Alex Wesker, which is something that I theorized? Or was that just something just for the 30th anniversary? That could definitely very well be the case, but it's interesting, right? We don't really know who the villain is here. It seems like it's the guy with the hood.
Stay close. They're coming.
I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for. The special one. The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft.
This is obviously in the hotel. This is the guy that most likely kidnaps Grace. He's giving me a lot of like Sadler vibes, as mentioned before, but it seems like he's Scandinavian. I don't know what kind of accent he's doing.
Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
We need to keep our voices down.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
Yeah, those just sound like randos, probably like the team the team she goes in with.
Everyone's gone.
That seems like a flashback from with her and her mom. Or maybe there's a kid in Raccoon City. That would be weird if there was. I mean, not really. I mean, we do know, obviously, Resident Evil 2 had Sherry, right? What else? Resident Evil Degeneration had a little girl. Well, what other games had a little girl? It is kind of like a trope, and now that we're going back to Raccoon City, that definitely, it could be the case. Maybe it's someone that's working for the villain in Abandoned or Raccoon City. Yeah, so that's the same guy. And the infection, though, you see that he has jagged teeth here. He's got jagged teeth. That's very interesting. That's very interesting because it kind of gives me... Yeah, I mean, it could just be that the guy just has jagged teeth and then he turned into a zombie. But as we discussed before, it could be that this is the C virus mixed with the mold or mixed with something else. The only reason I would think that it would be the mold is because the teeth back there, they kind of remind me of Resident Evil 8's lichen, right? Let's look at the teeth of the lichen. I mean, they're really jaggedy, but obviously if this is a combination... Yeah, no, actually they're really jagged. They're just broken, bro. They're just broken. Yeah, no, they're just really broken. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, maybe not. Resident Evil 2 zombies. Let's just see the regular zombies. Regular zombies just seem like, yeah, their teeth are broken. All right, so that's just the same. What about Resident Evil 6 zombies? The C virus. A little spaces in between. It seems like all the zombies that we've had in Resident Evil have always just had really busted up teeth. So maybe not. Maybe, you know, I was thinking maybe it's the C virus mixed with something else. I mean, it could be the C virus was something completely new, or maybe it's just not the C virus. But as mentioned, this character, the house, looks very similar to the baby combined with that thing that was crawling on the wall, correct? This is the hotel. This is the hotel because there was a leak a long time ago that suggested that it was going to be in a hospital. It was going to be in Indonesia, which is completely wrong because we know that's not the case. We know that this is obviously going to be a raccoon, right? But is this in multiple locations is the question, because as mentioned at the beginning, we saw that there's two locations. There's one where there's a city where it's raining a lot. It almost gives me like Eastern, it could be Europe. It could be like in Europe because the guy had like an Eastern European accent. I'm assuming sometimes the accents aren't a really good telltale sign because if you guys remember, Sadler had like a weird accent. He didn't sound Spanish at all, but he did speak Spanish. So it's really weird. Like the remake Sadler is what I'm referring to, not the OG. The OG sounded like he had just a generic Latin American Spanish accent, not from Spain. But yeah, so maybe this takes place in two locations, as mentioned before. We know for a fact that it's Raccoon, but we don't know where the other city is. That could maybe be Eastern Europe, and maybe it's well, we've already been in Eastern Europe, right? With I guess Romania, or maybe it's just Europe. I don't know, because the only reason I'm bringing up Europe is because of the BSAA, right? The European division is where Chris was headed to, and the guy here, the villain, kind of sounds like he's Scandinavian. I don't know. Like I said, it's not a very good convince. This is very just speculations at the top, right? So we'll continue on. Okay, then we see jagged teeth. All right, so then we see normal jagged teeth. And this kind of seems more in line with just typical zombies, but also kind of reminds me of like a little bit of the Lycan too. But this seems like it's just a different creature, right? Might be a BOW. Maybe it's the new zombies. He seemed like he was moving a little bit quicker too, but it's kind of crazy that we're getting it so soon, right? I mean, this is like, we know that the game was being worked on since 2020, right? I mean, obviously, what we heard from last year with the Resident Evil 7 director, Resident Evil Revelations director, he did state that that he didn't really know where to take the series. So this is very quick. Like he basically came up with the whole story last year, it seems. You know what I mean? Like that's, well, no, not last year, but like in the recent years, because, you know, there was also, and I don't really remember, so please correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I do remember that I don't know if this was a leak. I don't think so. I think this was said by a producer at Capcom. And I have heard this from other fans. This is before I started covering Resident Evil, so that's why it's a little bit iffy. As I was more just looking at it as a fan instead of a YouTuber. But they were at first kind of thinking, the producers kind of mentioned that they wanted to make a trilogy, right, with Ethan Winters. That plan went out the window completely with Resident Evil 8, where they basically said, we're just going to finish this story. We're not going to talk about Ethan Winters ever again. That's why they gave us Shadow of Rose, which is 16 years in the future. So, you know, and also we don't know what the game Apocalypse was. Was this supposed to be Apocalypse, right? Requiem. We also missed a chat from before. One of you guys was mentioning something very interesting before. You guys was, I think it was Gary. Gary, let me see Gary's comments. Gary actually brought up the definition. They first sent her to the hotel where her mother died, so the hotel is going to be in one of the environments. R.P.D. will be. Oh, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. So Gary's suggesting that it's going to be the hotel and then it's going to be an R.P.D. That could very well be the case. What I was suggesting was that maybe the hotel was an R.P.D. But there's evidence that kind of goes on the contrary of that, mostly because if we see just a couple, right? We saw like two locations. We saw like a really rainy location, and then we saw this location that looked like it was a hotel, but it looked kind of nice, right? I doubt this would have been in, like, this is obviously R.P.D. As we've seen, it's very destroyed. This is all of Raccoon City. But here, we kind of see that it's a little bit destroyed, right? When he's talking here.
That I've been searching for. A special one.
It's kind of broken on the sides. See? Right there. It seems like this could very well be in Raccoon City. But what I was going to say is that obviously this is at the beginning. No, I went too far. Hold up. Wait, hold up.
Same shit I've seen.
Please know that you.
There was one scene where we saw a nurse going down a thing, or I don't know if it was a nurse, a maid. Maybe look. What are they called in hotels? You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like no, they're not maids. Hotel concierge. What are they called? Like hotel jobs. What did like? I don't know what they're called. You guys know what I mean. I'm not gonna search it up because then it might dox me. But you guys know what I mean. Hotel ladies. I don't know. Hotel clerks. I don't know what their official title is. This scene does not look like an abandoned. This doesn't look like Raccoon City. We have lights. You know what I mean? The buildings are pristine. So this gives me the indication that there is going to be two locations, as Gary was mentioning. So, but what's interesting though, and what kind of does a counter argument, is that the guy, when he was sitting there talking, it did seem like it was. It did seem like he was in a hotel room, in an abandoned hotel room in Raccoon City.
Same shit I've seen.
So maybe it's just a different location. I don't know. I really don't. But if anything, the only thing that we can say for sure is that there's definitely two locations. There's a location that looks like it's very gray. They didn't really show us anything where the location was. But we know that obviously it's rainy. And that seems like that's where that hallway where the lady is walking is located in. Yeah, this location. He has said Requiem can also mean in non-religious context simply an act of remembrance. This highlights the commemorative aspect, whether or not it involves religious elements or formal musical pieces. Is that the direct translation? We'll look at Requiem just to see the actual, because at the beginning we were talking about that, especially in the Roman Catholic Church, a mass for repose, masses of the dead. A musical composition size. Yes. Okay. Yeah. I've heard of this. This is like Beethoven's Requiem, right? Like, I'm sorry, Mozart's. Isn't that his final piece of music that he wrote? An act or token of remembrance. Okay. So that's exactly what Gary was just mentioning before. So that's very interesting, guys. Very interesting. It seems to me like out of all of these three, I think it might be this one. A mass for repose of the souls of the dead. I think a mass for the repose of the dead. What does repose mean? Repose mean the state of sleep or tranquility, composure. That seems like, because since they're going to R.P.D, they're going back to, Raccoon City. It's almost like, you know what I mean? Like they're going to the city of where there's a bunch of dead people. Right? That's where it all basically, that's where it became very, newsworthy in the Resident Evil universe, where people knew that was happening. I think that's where they're basically taking the out of all these definitions, I think maybe, it could also be the third one here, a token of remembrance, maybe remembering the souls of the dead, right, that died in Raccoon City and how there's a connection to that. That could definitely very well be the case. You know what I mean?
And it will be playable to fans this August at Gamescom, where we'll also be hosting Opening Night Live on Tuesday, August 19th. Resident Evil Requiem marks a bold shift for the franchise, both in tone and gameplay, and today's reveal isn't just about survival horror. Expect high-stakes cinematic action too, with much more to share soon leading up.
So that right there, what he just said, that actually kind of takes my worry, my concerns away. But the fact that he just mentioned that it was actually going to have action parts to it is great. That's great news. You know what I mean? Because obviously it's not going to be like Resident Evil 7, which I think played up the horror way too much, right? And it kind of tipped off the balance of making Resident Evil 7 feel like a very different game, as opposed to having the delicate balance of having survival aspect, the horror, and the action, which I think is what made Resident Evil. If we go all the way back to the original trilogy, that's what it made, right? I would say maybe Resident Evil 3 kind of up the action a little bit more, and then after we saw with Code Veronica playing up the action more, until it ended up going to a place where it didn't become Resident Evil with Resident Evil 6, right? Resident Evil 4, 5, and 6, but 6 being the ultimate of that. I think the same thing with Resident Evil 7, right? We've discussed that on the channel. So, but going back to what I was saying, this is great news that this is going to be action-packed. Let's go back to exactly what he said.
Expect high-stakes cinematic action too, with
high-stakes cinematic action. That's great. That seems like it's great. So I think my concerns are definitely, they're not there. This is obviously seems like it's a new type of Resident Evil. We kind of have confirmation of that with what the Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil Revelation, and Resident Evil 9's director stated last year at Capcom Next event. So this is very interesting, guys. This is very interesting. Maybe that guy on the chair could be Brandon Bailey, founder of the Connection organization. Ooh, interesting. That's interesting, Nick. Yeah, the connections was something that they haven't really gone over too much. They kind of mention the connections in Resident Evil 8 very lightly, but I don't know if they'll mention it, right? That would be interesting because they could have done so much with the connections, but the fact that they didn't is interesting. By the way, if you guys want to see my first trailer reaction to Resident Evil 9, click this video right here. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was Parasite Eve like 4, but anyways, thank you so much for watching.